What is up guys, Andy Forest Steam Runner here and welcome back to another video, and today I'm bringing you guys another long-term shoe review, the Saucony ENDORPHIN SPEED 2 Runshield after 200 miles. So today's run was 19 miles, meaning we took this thing well up and over the 200 mile mark. 208 miles now in the Saucony ENDORPHIN SPEED 2 Runshield edition. Excited to give you my long-term review, my long-term thoughts on the shoe now that we've hit the next milestone. Of course, as always, we'll go through the wear and tear, we'll go through how I've been using it since the last 100 mile update, and then of course, will I continue to use this shoe moving forward. If you're excited for today's video, guys, make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and we'll start with the wear and tear. At the 200 mile mark, a shoe really has broken in. It should really be in its prime. So at this stage, I still don't really want to be seeing anything too drastic going on with the shoe. And this thing, I'm pleased to say, is holding up really, really well. If you look at the upper there, it's holding up nicely. There's no snags, no tears, nothing going on in this shoe, especially down the top there. It's all looking really, really good. A little bit dirty, a little bit dusty from the light trails, but overall, it's doing really good. As you can see, the midsole there, it's holding up really strong. Still feels as good as it did when I first got the shoe, but you guys know I had a little bit of an issue with it. We'll cover that again shortly because things really haven't changed with the shoe. But if you have a look at the outsole, you'll also see the grip is still holding out really, really well. I did notice that the grip in this shoe was better than my version 1. I still stand by that. Some of you in my last video agreed. Some of you said you couldn't really tell the difference. Totally understand, totally get it. I have found it to be a bit better, and I found that it's been quite durable. It's holding up well considering the type of terrain that I run on. You saw what happened to my last ENDORPHIN Speeds. This stuff on the outside here started to peel off, this outsole rubber. Nothing like that yet, all holding really, really strong. So in terms of durability, wear and tear, all that good stuff, it's holding up well. In terms of how I've been using this shoe, between the last update, which was 100 miles, leading up to this 200 mile update, it's pretty much been all moderate running and long running. I do confuse people sometimes when I say moderate running. For me, that's kind of halfway between easy running pace and marathon pace. Some people call it steady, I call it moderate running. And that's where I found this shoe sweet spot to be. I kind of find like if I'm easy running in this shoe, it makes me want to go a little bit faster. The whole speed roll tech in this shoe and the whole ENDORPHIN series really is such a good feeling, and it really likes you to move smoothly. So I always struggle to run easy in this thing. On the flip side, I've struggled in this version of the shoe to run faster than that. So I've been doing moderate and long runs, and the reason I've struggled is, as I said in the 100 mile update, I've really found this version dull and lifeless compared to my version 1. Now, there's a couple of reasons behind that. A couple of you pointed this out in my last update, and I'm inclined to agree with you. Bearing in mind, this shoe is lighter with all of this going on the upper, and you bear in mind how lightweight that Speed 1 upper is. With all of this going on the top, this shoe is actually lighter than my version 1 and the previous version. You've got to take a look at the midsole and go, what have you done with the midsole? Because the only way you've saved weight is to take something out of the midsole. You've changed the compound, you've changed something in there. And when a few of you guys said that, I was kind of like a little bit of a light bulb moment, like why didn't I think of that before? And I totally agree, because I said in the 100-mile update, the midsole definitely feels a little bit lifeless, a little bit flatter, still feels good, but it doesn't feel like the Endorphin Speed version 1 did for me. Don't know how many of you guys agree with me. I'm sure a lot of you disagree with me. Some of you will agree with me. But I have to say, it's been a shoe that I really have just reserved for that moderate running and long running. The final question in this review is, will I continue to use this shoe moving forwards? And the simple answer to that at the moment is no. There's a couple of reasons, but the main reason is this is a winterized shoe. I don't need this shoe moving into summer. So there's a good reason not to use it at the moment. We have fleece lining in here, or it feels like fleece lining. Very, very warm material used. Your feet get warm. Breathability is 0 in this shoe, and it is phenomenal at keeping your feet warm during those winter months. I've loved using this shoe then. It's lovely to come home and not have cold feet, but I just don't need it now. As temperatures rise, I noticed today in the long run my feet were getting quite warm, and I just didn't. It didn't cause any issues, didn't cause any blisters or rubbing or anything, but it was just a little bit of discomfort there that I thought I don't need this now moving into these warmer months. So that's the main reason, but the other reason is I'm just not inspired to use it at the moment, to be honest with you. I've got other shoes now in my rotation that I want to get up in the mileage. I've got the Velocity Nitro 2, which I'd like to try on the moderate running. I've obviously got the Brooks Hyperion Tempo back in, which have 2 long runs in the bank, so they've got 40 odd miles in them, and they're going to start getting some use leading into London Marathon training. And I've got other ones that I can use for moderate running. This really has been my go-to, but I feel now it's time to just put this one to one side, except that it's done really well getting to 200 miles, but I just don't feel inspired to use it. 100%, I definitely feel there's something in the midsole. What this thing compels me to do is go and buy, or at some point try and find a discounted pair of Speed 2s and see if it's the Runshield version or if it's the Speed 2s in general, because the Speed 1s I loved. They were just such a great shoe, but I've just felt this thing to be a little bit flatter, a little bit duller, and a little bit more disappointing. So in terms of that question, no, I don't intend on using it moving forward at the moment. Maybe I'll get it back out for next winter, but at the moment there's plenty other shoes in my rotation that I want to start testing more. So those are my thoughts on the Saucony Endorphin Speed 2 Runshield version after 200 miles. And of course, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I probably came across a little bit too harsh on the shoe. It's been a good workhorse for me. I've enjoyed it to a degree, and it does the moderate running really well. Like, I just feel really smooth when I'm running in it. At the moment in my rotation, it probably is the best that I have. But now, obviously, I can use the Hyperion Tempo. That will easily take its place and beyond. Plus, as I said, other shoes, the Velocity Nitro 2. There's other ones that I want to try, and the moderate running. So it's done really, really well. And the long runs, again, it's soaked up 2 hours and 10 minutes worth of running today without any issues whatsoever. So I don't mean to be too harsh with the shoe, and I don't mean to be too much of a downer with it. It's just really boils down to being uninspiring, a little bit flat, and not really that exciting to use. But as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this shoe in the comments below. How many miles have you got in your Runshield version? Have you now put yours to one side until next winter? Or are you still using it through the winter? Let me know, and let's get that discussion going. If you enjoyed today's video, guys, make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Until then.